Hi, I'm Paul. I would like to start by first of all saying congratulations to the RAF for attaining their 100th anniversary, 1st of April this year. As an ex-member of the RAF myself for 33 years, it makes me very proud for them to have done that. Pity I missed it, but that was never to be because of my age. So all the best wishes for the RAF currently serving wherever you are in the Air Force, all over the world, and of course their families who support them. Very much appreciated. I joined as an RAF policeman back in 1971 and served through till 2004, 33 years. It varied as time went on. To start with, I'd come up through the ranks. Initially I was involved a lot in real-time physical security as an RAF policeman with air bases that needed looking after and protecting, and assets as well on the station that needed looking after. It was, of course, Winston Churchill's Iron Curtain, the Cold War. Both in UK and in RAF Germany in particular, where we had a number of operational bases, physical security in uniform was a great part of our lives in those days. Later on, as my career developed, a number of us were lucky enough to kind of go into plain clothes work, investigative work, which was also very, very interesting, spending, in my case, 15 or so years out of uniform, but there were many other more experienced people than me doing the same for longer periods as well. Latterly, I specialised in air security and ended up flying out of RAF Northolt with members of the royal family from time to time, looking after various people and prime ministers and ministerial people. I would always wanted to be a policeman. Something inside of me told me I wanted to be a policeman. And naturally I was heading towards the civilian police. But in those days, there were only 2 constabularies that did not take police cadets who wore glasses. I'm perfect football referee material, blind as a bat, need my glasses. So I couldn't do without them. So I was never going to be a civilian policeman. I wasn't prepared to go to, I think it was Derbyshire Constabulary. I was born and brought up in North Devon and going to North Devon Tech College. So police in the civilian sense went out the window. And there was this very nice glossy advertisement in the common room. And right in the middle of this RAF advertisement was this lovely RAF policeman leaning on his gleaming Land Rover, talking into his Stornoway radio. And I thought, it was a eureka moment. I said, that's it. It said, join the RAF and see the world and be a policeman at the same time. And that's pretty much how I ended up in the Royal Air Force Police. Well, 33 years, there were a lot of aircraft that came and to an extent went during my time. As for a favourite aircraft, purely for its versatility only, but probably the Harrier, the jump jet vertical takeoff. I was always fascinated by the Harrier. Was lucky enough to have been posted and did a short time at RAF Wittering, which was the home of the Harrier for many a year. And I can recall vividly for the first time arriving in my private car on posting from overseas and arriving from Berlin. I was driving down the Perry track, the side of the airfield towards where my new unit was to be. And suddenly in front of me, lights flashed from permanent green. They suddenly started flashing red, 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 red. And I thought, this is quite crazy because I'm in the middle of the airfield. There's quite literally nothing around that I can see. And then within seconds, there was this almighty roar. And this Harrier just came down just to my right-hand side and landed about 50 yards in front of me and just disappeared with a high-pitched whistle into some revetments to the left. And I thought, that's pretty cool. And it's left a lasting impression on me. So to answer your question, Harrier, got to be. It's a cool aircraft. One of my favourite memories was probably when I had the privilege to, as part of a small team, to pick up the Chief of Defence Staff. And at that time it was Admiral Sir Michael Boyce, and we had the privilege of picking him up somewhere in the Middle East and flying him around to various places in the Middle East, including Kabul in Afghanistan, where we made a night visit and dropped him off. And I recall vividly, with a wry smile on my face, that because it was Kabul, the Chief of Defence Staff we were going to drop off there, he had his own close protection team with him on the aircraft with us, type of thing. And if you imagine the normal scenario when you come into land on any aircraft, that we've all done it, you know, can you have your seats in the upright position with your window blind up and your tray carefully folded away, the whole 9 yards. Well, I recall with a wry smile, because security was a big concern of mine, it was my job on this airplane, especially as a police officer, that in fact everything that you were taught was not happening around you, because we were on the very finals of landing, kind of intentionally with no lights on, or pretty much no lights on inside or outside the aircraft, because we were an easy soft target to be shot at from below. And it was incredible. People were milling around, they were cocking weapons, putting on grenade canisters and belts around them. And as we landed, they all just disappeared into the Afghanistan night, and we took off again. And it was like a perverse irony. It was totally the opposite of what we were trained to do in the way of flight safety, which of course the RAF take very, very seriously. The twist in the tale, which is why it's so poignant to me, because it was only 3 days later we picked the Chief of Defence Staff back up again in Kabul, and we were flying out still over Afghanistan space, climbing and heading off in a southwesterly direction. And we were levelling off, and to my absolute horror, the Chief of Defence Staff, carrying this great big birthday cake, it was my birthday, and my lads had smuggled this birthday cake around the aircraft so I wouldn't find it. And I had the Chief of Defence Staff walking down, singing at the top of his voice, you know, "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday." So that's a lasting memory of having the Chief of Defence Staff, who was the top military man, singing happy birthday. He did say he was not allowed to light the candles on the cake because it was a flight safety issue, which kind of I thought was perverse irony really after what happened when we dropped him off. Yes, I think the RAF, the armed forces as a whole, is all about camaraderie, morale, teamwork, and that was one of the key things that attracted me to it, and I got hooked on. Maybe I'm a little bit OCD type of thing, kind of, you know, if there's a row of marbles, they've got to be absolutely lined up type of thing. It's the way it is. And I think the military is the same. It's very much a family atmosphere, it's teamwork, and it's looking after each other. It always has been, and I suspect it always will be for the future, and may that never change. I think everything makes me proud to be part of the RAF in the past for what it's done. You don't need me to just reflect over its previous 100 years and what it's done during that time. Things obvious, for instance, World War II, initially the Battle of Britain and our fighter pilots, and then towards the end of World War II, what it did. The Bombers Command, Bomber Harris, its part in history and the role it played in achieving its various objectives. The Berlin Luftbrücke and various conflicts, the Falkland Wars in the early 1980s. It's all been all about defence of the nation, and it's done it admirably, and may it continue to do so.